Good afternoon, good morning. This video is sponsored by water, WATR H2O. Now, saying that, the reading, I'm wondering if others are having trouble with it because I have so many speed bumps. I was hoping it would get better as we went further on. What I mean by speed bumps is you start reading a sentence and then com comma, or I mean, person's name, and then back to the sentence. It's, for me, it causes trouble. I would rather have them just pin numbers. I go a bit while thinking, oh, that's who said that. It'll probably shorten the chapters quite a bit since some of the chapters, there is a lot of them. Now, on the reading and what's other additional stuff I've viewed, the common statement is we tried this study. Typically, they were small, or sometimes there wasn't really a study, but they wrote a book or a theory on how this technology would work or this technology would work. Well, until we get more solid evidence on some of most of those stuff that was talked in the chapter, I personally think we should limit the use of some of that technology so that we can make sure that it will actually benefit our students. The use of trying to use something, the whatever brand new theory, no matter which area, um, can cause more trouble than it's worth. So in that aspect, I'm still somewhat of a semi-traditionalist with the one-on-one FaceTime, paper and pen, paper and pencil, over. Uh, but I do use some technology, like if I can, an interactive board, certain videos. I do like the paperless classroom where they're using tablets or laptops, and I will and have used cell phones for alternative or extra lessons. Well, like I said, I am semi-traditionalist on the one-on-one FaceTime. I do use a couple sites for additional tutoring. The teacher has one-on-one FaceTime. I'm a tool that they use for additional FaceTime for a couple of reasons. And one I do recommend if you're teaching a language to whatever language you're teaching, have other videos of somebody speaking a similar language. Like say, for instance, when I taught, I would add videos from British North, the New England area, Australia, so the students can hear it in other accents. The one thing I did find in my studies as I was teaching overseas is if a student gets too used to one accent, no matter, and then they start talking to another foreigner that has a different accent, it's a lot more difficult for them to understand. So that's where I utilize certain technology, YouTube, um, and I had friends that would call and we would have conversations, and the students would have to understand what we were talking about with our different accents. And I try to keep a general plain, very little accent when I speak, similar to what you're hearing right now. That's areas where I do utilize technology, but I still am interested in learning new ones and seeing what comes of them. There's a few sites that I still haven't seen mentioned in the textbook that I've seen at teaching conferences, and one of them was where schools set up a blog through the school. The parents and students are given special passwords for the parent and the student, and as was a teacher who moderates, and they add stuff to it. The parents can't really add anything to it. They can view what's being done. They can't make any comments. It's basically, here's the teacher. They say, this is the activity. What's your thoughts? And they have the conversation. And it's more like a daily, sometimes it's like a daily diary. Some schools use it as, well, we want the parents to know what their kids are learning in school. Some of them have where they can open up the video to see what's going on in the classroom. Some schools I went to, they had, if the parents want to visit, they're not allowed to go into the classroom, but they can sit in the lobby area or the foyer, and there will be a TV screen where they can view their child in the classroom to see how they're behaving. Uh, some of those are the helicopter parents, or some of the other terms that were been used over the years, and they can be very interesting. I was a student, so I know what it should be, how the teacher should teach. That more than one of those conversations, and like one of them actually took the parent to her former school that her child was going to, and the teacher had taught her in his early years, and now teaching the daughter. And after a short little conversation, she's like, "I don't remember it that way." Well, no duh. Now, as for the discussions, you talk about wiki, and yeah, it means quick. It's a Hawaiian term, and it's short for wiki wiki, which is super fast. In 1995, the software made by Ward Cunningham, and any site that uses his software is classified as a wiki. Now, I do have issues with some of those with this wiki. Is, as you point out, people can upload information on there. I have come across sites that are sections in the wiki that are wrong. I recommend before you have the students go to that page to view it, and so, as far as just before the class, because they can be changed. Like, oh, I looked at it yesterday, and today it's totally different. Or they type in the suggested area you want to look up, and it might bring up a new thread that's been added, and not the thread you want. And as far as I know, how some things have been depends on the popular conception or politics. Well, it affects everything we do in schools and testing and on sites like Wiki. For instance, there's the living wage argument. And there it says two people, they came up with the idea, and this is the year they came out with it, except for one problem. We had a person give a speech about the living wage of $15 an hour during the, some call it the Immokalee workers strike, some called it the Taco Bell strike here in Florida. And that happened a couple of years before they said they came up with the idea. This guy was giving speech all over the nation. It was part of the protests for workers in different areas. It was also part anti-war later on. And that was a big thing here in Tampa. And I had filmed the speeches and took pictures of it. Was a photographer slash videographer, and I posted on Wiki the video of a speech before their time frame, and they removed it because it didn't meet the what they were trying to sell. So when it comes to certain things that can be controversial, that's something you need to look out for. As for the other site that that our professor was talking about, I've never used that site. I'd be interested to find out a little bit more information. So once again, thanks for listening in. Sorry if I seem to ramble. Uh, never videoed myself that well. All right. Hope to listen to your videos, see what else I can learn. Maybe some of you will have some more insight on some of these site programs and win me over. But like I said, right now I'm a little apprehensive about adding something new just to add something new.